Hi, my name's Jeffrey Frazier. I did my project on hoarding disorder. What is exactly hoarding disorder? Hoarding disorder is a persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions because of a perceived need to save them. People call me a hoarder all the time. You should see under my bed right now. I keep everything, I don't throw everything away, but I'm not a hoarder. They call themselves collectors. I'm just a collector. But hoarding disorder is something that actually makes it where you can't live life whenever it becomes a disorder. And we'll talk about that coming up. Here's a little insight of history of hoarding disorder. Randy Frost, this is him here, lovely man. He's the one who didn't invent it. He's the one who discovered it and created the DSM-5 criteria for it to become a disorder. And in prehistoric times, hoarding disorder was a way to secure some basic necessities. It was progressed as a way to protect valuables from unrest and crime. And even early days in the Catholic Church, they used to say that it was sinful to keep stuff for a long period of time. This is some of the criteria, the DSM-5, that you have to meet all of these to be labeled as a hoarder. So you have to have persistent difficulty discarding or parting with possessions regardless of actual value. The difficulty is due to a perceived need to save the items and to distress associated with discarding them. The difficulty discarding possessions results in the accumulation of possessions that congest and clutter active living areas and subsequently compromises their intended use. If living areas are uncluttered, it is only because of the intentions of third parties, such as family or friends. The hoarding causes clinically significant distress or impairment in social, occupational, or other important areas of function, such as living expenses. Like if you're in the house, you can't even walk in. That's what it's saying. The hoarding is not attribute to another medical condition, such as another mental illness that you could have. The hoarding is not better explained by the symptoms of another mental disorder, such as OCD. You can say hoarding is associated with that. These are some of the signs and symptoms. These are some of the most common ones that most people have. These are the ones that people don't have as much. Here we'll just do excessively acquiring items that are not of need, which there is no space, such as having like 12 toasters. Do you need 12 toasters? No. If you have a pile of them over there, no. You don't need that. And some less common ones is buildup of food or trash to unusually excessive, unsanitary levels. This would be your example of hoarders on the TV show. They very much dramatized it up and make it where it was very dramatic and that these people are crazy. But they were. They had like feces everywhere. And that's very not sanitary. This is some data. 5% of the population have hoarding disorder. 19 million Americans are affected by it, whether it is family, friends, or the person. And it is actually more common in adolescent girls. They're hoarders. These are some of the different factors that it could be in. If it was a biological, it could be if your dad was a parent. If your dad was a hoarder. Some sociocultural is culture has developed into one where things are valued differently than the past. And some physiological factors is the brain accepts practice hoarding behavior as normal behavior. Some treatment for it, cognitive behavioral therapy is the most common treatment for it. Some research find brain-based treatments for hoarding disorder, computer-based assessments, MRI scans, lab tests, and evidence based on support peer groups. These are what people do to test you and see if you have hoarding disorder. And these are my sources. Thank you.